All right, on the screen here, we have a picture about the different steps that we're going to be covering today, and we're going to cover in the videos as well. I'm going to hand that out so it's a little bit easier to read. Can I just pass this back to you and you can hand that out, if you don't mind?
Thank you.
All right. So the whole idea is that we want to be able to conduct discovery sessions with clients or subject matter experts. We want to be able to document everything. We want to be able to produce a document. That's the essence of that. And we can come back to that at another point. Okay? So let's go through a business event. I want to play through a business event for you pretty well the way I would do it with a client, except that instead of asking all the questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide the answers as we go along based on the questions that we would ask. You know, those three essential questions. How do I know that something happens, for example? What are we going to do about it? And finally, what are we going to record or remember or keep track of about what we've done? So let's imagine for a moment now that we have a business. It's a shoe business. Okay? And we have 127 stores from coast to coast. Okay? In Latin, that would be ad mare usque ad mare. Now, that will be the end of the Latin lesson. Okay, so from coast to coast, we have all these shoe stores. So when our company, Amalgamated International Resources, or AIR for short, acquired the shoe business, one of the things we acquired was old business systems as well. We found that they were a little bit old and creaky, legacy systems, right? And we said, let's change all of that. Let's develop some new systems to support the shoe business. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to develop a new system. So the first thing we do as a project team, we'll get a memo from on high. It'll tell us about the scope. Somebody will write up all the stuff that we need to do. Hey, we all know how that works. And if you don't, you can Google it and find out, right? Because it's not really brand new stuff. But when we start, we've got to start with that event list. Now, I've said earlier that we start by doing a project scope blitz. I'm not going to do that in this case, okay? And we're going to talk about it a little bit later on. But I'm going to start with one event, because the truth is that if you can find one or two or three events, never mind 30 events, if you can find 1, 2, or 3 events, from those 1, 2, or 3 events, you can find all the other events that you need for that project. So I'm going to start with one, just one. The customer wants to buy a product. You can imagine these shoe stores, the customers buy products, right? So a customer wants to buy a product. Now, I'm told that we need to be able to develop a system to support the brick and mortar stores across the country. We have 127 now, and we'll have a growth that exceeds over 1,000 stores, I'm told. We also need to have an internet store as well. Now, the interesting thing about all of that is that becomes like a so what, because those are how things are going to be delivered to the customer. Whether it's an internet store, or it's a brick and mortar store, with apologies to the Rose Lady, a store is a store is a store. It doesn't matter what kind. Okay? So, customer wants to buy a product. These customers, what we specialize in are lime green loafers, size 13, of course. Right? This is our specialty product. Customer comes in, they ask for them, and we go from there. Now remember again that any event statement that we make will never start with a verb. So I want you to follow me now. We're going to go over here in a moment, and we're going to draw a business process diagram. We're going to write a narrative. We're going to attribute some data. I'm going to do all the things that we haven't yet talked about in detail. So as when we get to it, we can say, aha, see what we did before. And we're going to follow through and have a complete diagram, narrative, objects, data attributes, business rules, the whole thing for one event, one situation, one circumstance. A customer asks for a product or wants to buy a product. Okay? We're gonna come back to that.